Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be making this little headband for children with the buttons, so that you can put these over the buttons and not the ears. So this mask now includes an insert for a filter or for a napkin or for whatever you're going to put in there. It now has a filter. So these buttons are going to be for the ears, because some children are not going to like a mask wrapped around their ears. I also did an adult version of the exact same thing. And then plus you can also use this for the colder months as well. Let's get started. So we're going to do a little toddler size. A lot of people have been asking me about toddler sizes, and I haven't I've got a crap ton of toddler sizes, but these ones have inserts, so you can stick in your handkerchiefs or your paper towels or whatever you want to use for an insert, your shop towels. It has an insert for you to do that, just like the adults one I did. So if you're looking for an adult size that's this style, I've done an adult size, and I've done the measurements for it. So from earpiece to earpiece, this particular one is 8.5 inches long. From face mask part to face mask part, it's 5 inches long. And then from nose to chin, it's 3.5 inches long. So it gives you an idea of the size to do. So let's get started. You're going to need a number 4 millimeter hook. You are going to need a stitch marker. And you're going to need your color of yarn. Mine is a Red Heart Super Saver. So this calls for a 5.5 hook. The reason I'm using a number 4 is to keep the weave so very nice and tight that even though you have an insert, very, very, very tiny tight holes so that nothing can get through. And then you've got your insert, which is made with the same yarn and the same needle, so you've double whammy, nothing's going to be able to get through. So I didn't just make this for a boy's style, I just made this. So you can put a heart on it, you can put a little bow on it, you can embroider flowers on it or Easter eggs, whatever you want to put on this. It's up to you. Mine's just going to be plain. So we're just going to start with a slip knot. And you're going to chain 13. In the very first stitch you can get into, which is this next one here, you're going to put 3 single crochets all in that same stitch. And then you're going to single crochet back up, and you're going to put 3 single crochets in the very last stitch. So I'm going to put 3 single crochets in this last stitch. I'm going to pull my tail closed, and then I'm going to turn it because I'm going to start working on this side, and I'm going to try to weave my tail in as I go. So you're just going to single crochet 10, back up, and then we're going to put a stitch marker in. So this is your knot. You've got a stitch right next to it. So that brings you back up to where we did our 3 single crochets. You'll be able to recognize that. This is where I'm going to put my stitch marker in. And your piece should look like this, so it should look like a little rib cage. If not, you've done something wrong. But your stitches should be stacked on top of one another. So we're back up to where we did our 3 single crochets, and we're going to put 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. So they're awkward to get into because they are elongated and they are twisted, so they're kind of bent over. There's 1, 2 in that one, another weird one, and 2 in that one. So now you're going to single crochet 12 all the way across. Now it's 12, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. And then 9 single crochets back up to your marker. That's 9, and underneath your marker makes 10, just like the other side. So now we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next 4 stitches. So you're going to come back around over to this side, so 2 in each. And you're single crochet 12. And now we're back up to this side. We're going to put 2 single crochets each in the next 4 stitches. Then you're going to crochet 9 back to the marker. It's 9, and then underneath your marker is 10. So our next increase is going to be 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. We're going to do that 4 times. So we're going to put 2 in here. We're going to put 1 in here. That's 1. And 2 in here. And 1 in here. That's 2. So do that 2 more times. Now you're going to single crochet 4. So we're going to do our nose piece. So in the next stitch you're going to put a single crochet and a half double crochet, same space. In the next stitch you're going to put a double crochet. And then the next space you're going to put a half double crochet and a single crochet. Then you're going to single crochet. Four, sorry. And now you're going to do the same thing. 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 4 times. And then you're going to single crochet 10 back up to your marker. That's 10, and underneath your marker is 11. So now we're going to single crochet 18. So in the next stitch, you're going to single crochet, you're going to half double crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to double crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to half double crochet, and you're going to single crochet. And then you're just going to single crochet all the way back around to the marker. There we go. So, I don't know if you noticed how I offset the nose a bit, and that's just so I can get that bend in the nose. So the nose was offset, but I just want, for kids, most definitely, I just need that nose to be a little more flexible. So our increase here is just going to be 1, 1, 2, 4 times. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 in the same hole. And you're going to do that 4 times. 1 single crochet in that stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 in the same stitch after. 2 more times. So that's our increase there. So now you're going to single crochet 13. And then we're going to do the same thing. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4 times around. And then you're going to single crochet back to the marker. Alright, so next you're going to single crochet 6. In the next stitch you're going to single crochet 1 and chain 18. You're going to skip 3 and you're going to single crochet into the 4th stitch. And you're going to single crochet 26. So at this point I would suggest you recount, just like in the adults one, to make sure you have the correct number. So from here you're gonna single crochet 1 and chain 18. You're going to skip 3 and go into the 4th, and you're going to single crochet, and then you're going to single crochet back around to the marker. The marker makes 17. The next stitch you're going to slip stitch and fasten off. Now if you want to hide this, You can weave it into the next stitch too. Pull it down a bit before you weave it. And I'm just going to weave mine in and out diagonally. So when I do pull down and tight, kind of makes that disappear a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. So I weave this in, so I'm just going to snip him off because I don't have to tuck him in since I weaved him in already. So that's your little nose fold. We didn't do the chin part for the little kitties, but this bends nice here and here, so it should conform pretty nicely around the face of the child. As you can see, the nose part. So now it's just on to the insert. So I'm going to be doing the insert in white. I'll keep the blue down here so hopefully you can see it. If my battery dies, my battery dies, but in the meantime, using number 4 still, we're going to chain 15. We're going to single crochet back up 14. That's 14. And tighten your knot. You can chain 1 and turn. So you're going to do 6 rows of single crochet 14, and then I'll meet you right back here. Alright, I've got my 6 rows done. So I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn. And we're going to make the nose piece. So you single crochet 6. In the next stitch, you're going to put a half double crochet and a double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to put a double crochet and a half double crochet. And then you're going to single crochet 6. Chain 1. Maybe. Fasten off. Well, now that my piece is so short because I spent so long trying to thread my needle and I had to keep cutting pieces off, I am just gonna weave this in, and I'm just going to get a whole fresh piece of white. Make sure before you sew it on, first of all, that you're on the right side. And make sure that your nose piece, that this isn't getting in the way. You want this down low enough that this should sit right where it curves for the nose piece. Because the kids are not going to like this. It will keep them safe, but they don't understand it. So we certainly don't want two pieces impeding their breathing. So I'm going to make a slip knot on this end. So if you have to do it like me because you suck at threading needles. So I'm just going to come up ever so slightly into the blue and into the white. And I pull through until I get to my slip knot. And then I'm going to put the needle through the slip knot, and I'm going to make a knot with the slip knot. So just pull both extremely tight just to secure that. You shouldn't see it come through the other side. It should not be visible. And then you can just continue to roll up through the blue into the white, all the way across. Now if you've watched my other videos, then you already know how I'm going to do this. And again, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. You can just stretch it out. Pin it. Don't be like me. I would pin your work if you need to, because I tend not to, and then my stuff moves. So I'm just going to make sure I roll up on this corner without stabbing myself. So none of it's coming through the other side. Oops. What's going on here? So it's all attached, but it didn't go through the other side. I am not sewing this side down. I am just bringing my needle through to move the yarn. Sorry, my throat is so sore. My voice is just about gone again. So I'm just moving my yarn down to the corner. Make sure I'm in that corner. I'm going to come back up too through the blue to make sure that corner's down. But this is where you can pull it tight and bunch it if you want to sew it in that type of a style. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to sew it regularly. So I'm just going to roll down, roll up, roll down, roll up into that corner. They definitely want the corners secured. And give a little tug. Sorry, I hope you can see it okay this way. It's just easier for me. So down through the blue, I got my finger here, because if I poke my finger, I know I've come all the way through, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to see this white on the other side. And I'm just going to end and rolling up on that corner through the blue. And then I'm just going to weave my end in. And then I'm going to go back this way because it just makes it harder to unravel if you go in 3 different directions. So I kind of just went in 4 different directions. And this has already got a knot on the end of it, so you can just cut that off as close to the knot as possible because we put a slip knot in there. And there's your insert for your little toddler size. And then you can put whatever you want to put on the front. You can put crochet, embroidered little flowers or crochet hearts or, you know, whatever you want to put on the front. I'm just going to keep mine plain, but there you have it. So what I want to do with this mask is a headband with buttons so that these can be clipped over the buttons instead of over the ears. Not that they aren't comfortable, because they are very comfortable. They're not elastic or anything. But in case you wanted to also use an N95 or an N96 mask, then the headband will come in handy with the buttons on it. So we're just going to kind of wing it as we go, because it all depends on you. That's what I mean by wing it. So, first you're going to have to measure your child's head. Whoops. So, I'm going to do one that's 12 inches long, because I think that might go with the little toddlers. Maybe I'll go with 13 inches long. So 13 inches long is what we're going to do. You're going to have to measure your child's head. But this is what you do. So if your child's head is 13 inches, you're going to make a slip knot. I am using a number 5 millimeter. So I am going to chain enough that when not stretched out will equal the measurement. So that's 50. And without it being stretched out, because you don't want it to be stretched out, it's just a little past the 12 and 1/4 inches. So that's how you do it. So you're just going to make your chain to measure your child's head. So I got 50 for a chain, and I'm just going to single crochet all the way back up. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do that for however many rows that you deem is wide enough. I have my white one, so I have my buttons on here already. Like this is fully made with the buttons, and this goes at the front of my head. But if it's a boy and you don't want that, you don't have to put it in. You can find something else to cover up where you sewed it together, or you can put this at the base of the neck, and then you'll have to put your buttons in different places. But this here is 10 rows. So for a kid, probably don't have to do 10 rows. So it's all up to you again on what we do. So so as far as mine would go, I mean, it's gonna fit a little wee guy, so I may only do 5 rows, but we'll see what it looks like after it's made. So you just want to single crochet all the way back up to the beginning. And again, excuse my voice, my throat has been very sore with this cold that I have. So it's just straightforward single crochets. There's nothing fancy, but I mean, if you wanted to do, if you know how to do different stitches, you can do, a lot of people do their headbands in a moss stitch. I'll be doing one later on with that same stitch, but right now we're just going to keep it simple. I am going to end up with a knot. I'm not careful. So you kind of just play this by ear, you know, you kind of just make it and then you go, yeah, I think that's, you know, that's enough. So I chained 50, so I just have 49 back up. Chain 1, turn your work, and just keep doing that. And I'll meet you back here when you think that it's, I'll put my pause screen up, and then I'll meet you back here when you think you've got the desired width that you want. Then I'll meet you right back here, and we can go from there. Alright, so I did 6 rows for mine, but you can judge because you have a child's head there with you. I don't have any children in the house to, and I can't see my grandkids because we're all in lockdown, so you're gonna have to judge by your own child's head. But I'm gonna just do my 6 rows, so I'm just gonna fasten off. And I'm going to fasten off with a tail long enough to sew the 2 ends together. So I'm just going to tuck this guy away. And you're just going to bring the 2 ends together. And you're just going to do a whip stitch. So you're basically going to come through this stitch into that stitch, and then you're going to loop back. Now this is going to be hidden, so it doesn't really matter what kind of a job you do. So once we have it sewed, I'm just going to kind of stick my needle in and kind of make my way back up to the top of this. So when you pull, it kind of gathers. It's just going to help with the whole gathering part. So once you've got your gather, you can just start wrapping. It all depends on how tight you want it. You can also crochet. You can also crochet something for the center as opposed to just wrapping. But I think it looks just fine. You know, if you wrap it, you know, neat and not all crazy like, then that's fine. So you can decide how thick you want it and stuff like that. So, oh, I thought I lost my needle. So I'm just going to get my needle again. And now I'm at the back. I'm just going to shove my needle through that entire thing. And I'm going to go through this loop so I can tie a knot. And then I'm going to really give a nice snug tug, because you don't want to feel that on your head. So a nice snug tug will make it nice and small, and then I'm just going to weave it into the underside. I'm still on the bottom. And this is where you can go in your different directions. So if it tries to wiggle its way out, it's got a number of ways it's got to go before it comes out. So I think that's good. Snip that off there. And you've got your little kitties. What do you call it? Band? Not a headband. Oh my good lord. So I made it the same color to match the mask, because if it goes with it. But you have a white background, you could have done that in white. You didn't have to do it the way I did it. I just like to come up with ideas where you don't have to, you know, fasten off and then refasten. So that was my plan. So the buttons, again, is going to be all up to you. I don't think I've got two buttons that match. I think I used them all. And I certainly don't have white. Got a lot of buttons. I like buttons. So obviously if you have a boy, you're not going to want to use pink. But that's just what I have. So I'm going gonna grab some more blue yarn. Alright, so you're going to have to determine where your kids' ears are. Now, when I did mine, I just put this on my head, and then where the tops of my ears were, I actually just stuck in stitch markers while it was still on my head. So that's how I did it for mine. But, I mean, it's your child. You can do different things. I think I'm just going to, because that's the front. So I think I'm just going to mimic what's at the back, because I think all of our ears are pretty much in the same place. But again, it's all up to you, because you have your kid's head there and I don't have your kid's head here. So you can again put it 2 rows down, 1 row down, right in the middle. But start from the bottom, because it just will tie this in a knot at the back. If I can find the hole. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm sure you all know how to sew on a button. I probably don't even need to do this part with you, but I'll just tie this in a knot. You tie this in a tight enough double knot, you won't even know there's a knot here. So it needs to be really, 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 really tight. And then you can just snip it off as close as you can to the knot so you don't know it's there. And really, I mean, I can get up close and personal and it's hard to even tell that it's there. Right there. So there's no way your kid's gonna feel that. And then we can put the other one on. So now, all my crap out of the way. So now, your kid can wear his headband or her headband. And have ear, well, I mean, it's not going to stay on him without the kid's head here, but that way, even though this is comfortable behind the ears, it's may irritate some children. So this way you can attach the headband or the mask to the headband. And it'd be also good for cold months too. You can just use this to cover up the ears, and I mean, who cares if it's got buttons on it, right? Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.